In a universe filled with superpowers and ethical dilemmas, intriguing questions arise about the nature of villainy and redemption. After all, would Jean Grey be a bad character? This question not only invites us to explore the darkest corners of the human psyche, but also leads us on a journey of reflection on the duality of being and the eternal search for light, even in the most darkened hearts. Prepare yourself for a gripping analysis that transcends the comic book pages and delves into the depths of the human soul. Jean Grey, an iconic comic book character, is often portrayed as a woman with extraordinary powers but also deep emotional complexity. Her story is filled with moments in which she is consumed by a cosmic entity known as the Dark Phoenix, which drives her to commit acts of destruction and chaos. When we observe Jean Grey under the influence of Dark Phoenix, it is easy to fall into the trap of labeling her as an evil character. Her acts of destruction and chaos are undeniably devastating, and her connection to a cosmic entity of immeasurable power seems to obscure any trace of her true essence. However, further analysis invites us to question whether Jean is truly evil by nature, or whether she is, in fact, a victim of the external forces that dominate her. The Dark Phoenix saga shows us a Jean Grey who constantly fights against her own inner darkness. She is faced with the dilemma of controlling an overwhelming power that threatens to consume her or succumbing to its overwhelming influence. In this context, we can interpret Jean as a tormented soul, trapped between her fragile humanity and the uncontrollable grandeur of the Dark Phoenix. This duality reminds us of a fundamental truth about the human condition: we are all susceptible to the external forces that surround us, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual. Just as Jean fights to resist the influence of the Dark Phoenix, we face our own internal battles against the temptations and challenges that come our way. Furthermore, Jean Grey's story also invites us to question what really defines evil. Does the evil lie in the action itself, or in the intention behind it? Jean may be responsible for terrible acts while under the Dark Phoenix's rule, but her true essence, her inherent humanity, remains present even in the depths of darkness. Therefore, as we consider the question of Jean Grey's evil, we are challenged to look beyond superficial appearances and recognize the complexity of the human condition. Ultimately, Jean Grey reminds us that we all carry a duality within us, but it is the choice between giving into evil or fighting for the light that truly defines our character and our destiny. This reflection reminds us of biblical figures such as the Apostle Paul, who before his conversion was known as Saul and persecuted Jesus' followers. Despite his cruel actions, Paul underwent a radical transformation after his encounter with Christ, becoming one of the greatest defenders of the Christian faith. This shows us that even those who seem hopelessly lost can find redemption and become instruments of good. Likewise, Jean Grey is often portrayed as someone who struggles with her own inner darkness and seeks redemption for her past actions. Her moments of weakness and failure humanize her and remind us of the constant struggle between our sinful nature and our desire to do good. Ultimately, the question of whether Jean Grey is an evil character reminds us of the complexity of human nature and the continued need to seek the light, even in the darkest circumstances. As imperfect beings, we all face our own internal battles, but it is the search for redemption and reconciliation that truly defines our character and destiny. If you like the content and want to help us continue, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment or suggestion about a book, film, series, anime that you want to see analyzed on the channel.